Hey, I'm Fight the Flat Earth and welcome back to the channel that ties stupidity to the train tracks of knowledge. As Flat Earthers go, the guy in this episode of Flerfs are Idiots is probably the most famous and the most stupid. Here's a few reasons why. 1. He literally thinks that we are in some kind of Truman Show. 2. He can't read big ass signs on buttons.
There's the curvature of the Earth. I've been brainwashed, and I keep hitting this button for splashdown sequence, and nothing happens.
Capsule is broken.
Yeah, this is broken. The Orion simulator is broken.
It costs about $30 to get in per person, give or take. Everything is run down.
Everything's worn.
Everything is kind of broken. Chris Pontius could teach this place how to make things.
3. Needs to wear a shirt with his name on so he doesn't forget who he is.
Do you get lots of stuff?
Not as much. No? Not like this.
So yeah, here is your obligatory facepalm protection warning for this episode 19 of Flerfs are Idiots. Mark Sargent.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
So, Mark Sargent, self-proclaimed leader of the Flat Earth and grade A deluded moron. He once took to the stage at a Flat Earth conference and spouted some of the stupidest shit I have ever heard, including a challenge to an actual physicist.
Some months ago, a German television team contacted me because they had heard about my science challenge and had found a physicist at Georgetown University I could debate. They also wanted to make it as easy on the scientist as possible. So their idea was simple.
Alright, straight off, I call BS. The German TV company wanted to make it easy on the physicist. Come on, man, you're a flat earther and everyone knows that every single one of you is dumber than a bag of rocks with learning difficulties. Good start.
They would record me on video, reading 5 quick science-based questions, and then send that recording over to Georgetown, and he would respond in kind. This is what I read on camera. 1. Long-distance photography. The mainstream science formula for the curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile squared.
Stop! No, you idiot, it's really not, because that 8 inches per mile squared thing didn't come from NASA or mainstream science. It actually came from the idiot that started this entire flat Earth modern movement and author of Zetic Astronomy, Samuel Parallax Rowbotham, who hilariously misused it, as the section he took it from in the Encyclopedia Britannica actually had the heading of levelling. You see, it's not a formula for the curvature of the Earth. Not at all. It actually maps out a parabola and not a circle. Plane surveyors use it as an approximation for compensating for drop in a target of the same height as the surveyor's transit.
An easy comparison would be the falling rate of 32 feet per second, so 8 inches per mile per mile. 2 miles is 2 times 2 equals 4 times 8 inches, or 32. 3 miles is 3 times 3 equals 9 times 8, or 72, and so on. At 50 miles, the curvature is 50 times 50 times 8, coming in at over 1,600 feet of curvature.
Kind of, but not really. Let's take a look at an extreme example of your formula. And I am going to call it your formula, Mark, because it was made popular by a flat earther. So what is the furthest apart 2 points can be on Earth? Well, the answer is about 12,500 miles. And what is the maximum drop a target can have on our model of Earth? Same as the diameter of the Earth, about 7,950 miles. How does the formula that you keep using hold up? Well, the square of 12,500 is 156,250,000. Times that by 8 inches is 1,250,000,000 inches, or 19,728.54 miles. More than the diameter of the entire Earth. You see the problem there? 8 inches per mile squared never curves back on itself and becomes progressively less circular as the distance actually increases. I know, I'm going to start a new theory, parabola Earth. Then the 8 inches per mile squared thing will actually work.
And yet, with HD cameras, we can pull boats back into frame that are well beyond visual range. Not only does the new technology clearly show that it's not a mirage, but the same objects can be viewed in infrared and can be targeted ship to ship by beam radar. Can science explain this? They had no answer.
Yeah, well, I bet they had no answer because I don't think any of this actually happened. Yes, Mark, it can be explained by science because no matter how much you zoom, you're never bringing something that has disappeared bottom first over the curve back into sight. And the thing about ship-to-ship radar is that it's actually limited, by the curve of the Earth.
Number 2, vacuum versus gravity. The force of a vacuum is measured in units of torr, T-O-R-R. Even a low-level vacuum can overcome gravity here on the surface. In building molecule-free chambers for the manufacturing of electronics, a series of massive pumps are needed to create a 99% vacuum. That's -9 torr.
Oh my god, look at you up there trying to sound smart. It's almost cute. If this ever did go to a physicist at Georgetown Uni, then they probably didn't respond because they died from laughing too hard, Mark. Please, just go to the remedial classroom. Okay, settle down. Today we're going to look at... What is it, Mr. Sergeant? No, Logan Paul isn't here. What do you mean you just walk out if he was? Well, that sounds familiar. Did he upset you by trolling you really hard? Does somebody need a wambulance? Anyway, I saw your homework and you put that space is a -10 torr vacuum? No, you idiot. Torr is a measurement of pressure based on an absolute scale, meaning 0 torr is as low as it goes. Same as Kelvin when you talk about temperature. So there is no -9 or -10 torr vacuum. Mr. Sergeant, are you even paying attention? What's that? Give it here. Oh, not again. Stop passing love notes to Patricia Steer. She's not interested in you.
That being said, how is the -10 torr vacuum force of space not ripping off the atmosphere of this world?
Because there is no such thing as negative torr, you absolute moron. But as for the atmosphere not getting ripped off, well, there's a little thing holding it on that we like to call...
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
What is gravity? And remember that there are gases that already defy it.
Easy, just ask Sleeping Warrior, I've told him loads. Gravity is the warping of space-time by mass, which manifests as an apparent accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared.
Like helium, hydrogen, and fluorocarbons. Isn't it more logical to suggest that the atmosphere is being contained in an enclosed, pressurized system?
No, not in the slightest, because you've just claimed gravity isn't real. That means you need to explain to me the pressure gradient our atmosphere has from 14.7 psi up to 0 psi. See, that's not possible without gravity, and with gravity there's no need for a magic snow globe. As for gases defying gravity, please learn the equation for buoyant force, which contains gravity.
Number 3, Eclipse Shadow. Mainstream science tells us the moon is over 2,000 miles wide, and yet during the 2017 American eclipse, no offense, the moon's shadow was only 70 miles wide, a reduction of over 97%. This is what the equivalent of having a 6-foot man walking in front of a wall where his shadow is smaller than an action figure at only 2 inches.
That's because the light source is bigger, the sun, than the object it's using, the moon, to cast a shadow on the Earth. And also the sun shines light in every direction. Come on, Mark, this is easy. Look at the picture. Obviously the picture's not to scale before any Flerfs get their knickers in a twist. But the picture shows that light rays from the sun would make a smaller shadow than the moon's actual circumference.
The flat Earth community says that the moon is less than 50 miles wide, much closer and the same size as the sun. Isn't this explanation also possible? They had no answer.
Yeah, Mark, they had no answer because they were busy doing this. And also, if the sun and the moon are just kind of hovering above us, then the eclipses make no sense whatsoever. And also what's keeping them up there. Just because they look the same size in the sky doesn't mean that they are actually the same size.
These are small, but the ones out there are far away.
Number 4, moon temperature. Science has yet to address this relatively new discovery that the moon generates a cold light. We all know that in the daytime it is 90 degrees in the sunlight, 80 degrees in the shade, depending on conditions. I know I'm not going to do the Celsius conversion up here, sorry. However, at night, especially when the moon is high in the sky, we see the opposite. While it might be 50 degrees in the moonlight, it's warmer at 60 degrees in the moon's shade.
Oh! You said a stupid, Mark. What you're describing in temperatures is probably accurate, but not for the fucking stupid reason that you think. There is no such thing as cold light. Here's what happens. During the day, the Earth receives over 430 quintillion joules of energy from the sun per hour. In the night, that energy is radiated back into space. If you've got lots of open sky, then lots of that energy is radiated back. But if you're in the shade, well, that means that there is something there that's casting a shadow. And that means that something is blocking the energy from escaping. Meaning that in the shade at night, there is more thermal energy, thus a higher temperature.
Yes, science, bitch!
We can generate this with technology today using a cold laser. The question is, why is the moon giving off a cold laser light? They had no answer.
They had no answer, Mark, because they were too busy doing this.
I love it.
Cold laser light. Did you really just say that? Psst, Mark, you know people are recording this, right? And they put it on YouTube, where other people can see it. Whoopsie.
Last but not least, the Van Allen belts. A simple yes or no question. Are the Van Allen radiation belts deadly? If yes, then how did Apollo 11 through 17 make round trips through these belts with only aluminum and plastic as shielding?
Well, Mark, I imagine that prolonged exposure to the high intensity levels of the Van Allen radiation belts would be deadly eventually. But the Apollo missions not only planned their missions to go through the weakest parts of the Van Allen belts, but the command module actually had shielding against solar radiation. The heat shield has several outer coverings, a pore seal, a moisture barrier, a white reflective coating, and a silver mylar thermal coating that kind of looks like aluminium foil. The silver mylar coating was a shield against infrared, visible light, and invisible UV radiation, as well as low energy alpha rays.
Radiation is only stopped by two metals, lead and gold. Both are very heavy and cannot be used in aerospace because of their weight.
This is like watching a train wreck, Mark, because every new thing you say is stupider than the last. See this bit of paper? You can actually use this to stop radiation, like alpha radiation, for instance, which is a major component of the Van Allen belts. It can be stopped by paper.
The scientist viewed my recording and folded like a card table. This piece was never aired. All that being said, my name is Mark Kendall Sargent, and I'm a flat earther.
And flat earthers are fucking idiots. Mark, that entire diatribe was a lie. There was no German TV company contacting you. There was no challenge sent to Georgetown University to a physicist because those 5 questions could be answered by my 10-year-old son. Mark Sargent, I challenge you to a debate because frankly you would be a lot of fun to destroy in front of a bunch of people. Now, before we go, let's look at another video, one that I found on Mark Friendzone Sargent's channel that made me really quite mad and perfectly explained on its own why I hate the flat earth. Mark was doing a call-in show and this
Oh man, I got a little boy who's been sitting here for over an hour waiting to talk to you, okay?
Okay, go. What do you got?
All right, here he goes.
Who is he?
Hi.
Hey, man.
My name is Tristan, and I'm in the 2nd grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves, and she couldn't do it because it doesn't curve, and water always finds its level.
Wow, that is a smart kid. What a perfect way to end the show. That's fantastic. What'd your teacher do? She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. That's awesome.
I was like, what is this about? What?
That is so cool. I am so happy that you did that, man. That's fantastic. Good for you. Seriously, I could not be happier for you. You totally made my night.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And you've got to be probably the youngest person to even call into the show.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Yeah, and that really pissed me off. That poor kid. As far as I'm concerned, that is actually child abuse. You're teaching that child to reject science, reason, and logic, and forcing onto him a mistrust that will ruin his entire life. Asshole dad for letting that happen. But on the bright side, I did figure out where the Non Sequitur show got their clip for their Flatterday Night fight music. And that's it for today.
Okay,
Mark,
I'm a flat earther.
you are the king of the idiots. Congratulations. Just before we go, I want to say a massive thank you to all my patrons. Your support allows me time to focus on my channel and do what's important, bringing you great content and fighting the flat earth. I want to say an extra massive thank you to my $200 patrons, Christopher Kane and Jeffrey Sloan. If you'd like to join and become part of the FTFE team, go to patreon.com/FTFE. And thank you. Guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe and get the notification bell on. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the